For today's project, I am using these acrylic paints. They are neon colors, come in a set, and instead of watercolor paper, I'm using this canvas paper, which has the same texture as the stretched canvases that you can buy, only it's in paper form. It's a little bit less absorbent than the watercolor paper, and so that's why I like using it with acrylic paints. I bought these neon colors for something that I wanted to try out, and I didn't want to buy the big bottles, and I'm glad I didn't, because the quality of these paints is not very good. They're very watery, but that's okay. I am just using it as a background, and I specifically chose a brush where you could see the brush strokes for now, for extra texture for the background. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to let the first layer dry, and instead of rinsing out my brush, I am using a separate sheet of paper to get the paint off so that I can use it for a different project. And then once that first layer is dry, I'm gonna go over it again with some more paint. It is still the same paint, except I have used some white now to add. I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. My main focus was to put down some color, some darks and some lights, so that I can then put my neurolines over it and doodle. Now the paint is fully dry and I can start doodling on top. These are some of my favorite pens at the moment, and as usual I have everything linked in the description box below this video. If you don't know where to find it, it depends what device you are watching this on, but if you can find the counter for the views for this video, there should be either a little arrow or a more button, and it will expand, and everything I use I usually put down there, and it's got handy links where it takes you to Amazon. I do get a small commission off of your purchase at no extra cost to you. Sometimes I have an idea of what I want to do. Other times I just let my pen glide across the page, and then it will give me some lines and shapes that I can then go in and round out the corners. With this one here, I specifically wanted to make use of those boxy lighter colors on my paper, and I wanted to bring in some more rectangular shapes this time instead of the round ones, so that's what you saw me draw in the beginning. There's no rhyme or reason why I use the shapes that I use. I don't usually have a plan. I just go at it. For me, it helps to focus on some main shapes first, and then I can go in and add more lines and more shapes as I see fit. I do like when the piece is balanced, meaning when I look at the overall composition and I feel like something is missing, then I will add some more stuff to it. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. I just go and add more until I feel like I'm happy with it. Sometimes I feel like I'm done with adding lines and I start doodling on it or adding more stuff to it. And then in the end I feel like, oh yeah, well, I'm looking at it and I feel like something's missing, and then I add more. So, you know, it's a little dance that we do, and that's the fun part about it. I also like using thicker and thinner lines. I think it breaks the composition up a little bit, and the same goes for the doodles after. Now we are ready to doodle. And again, I don't have a plan. Sometimes I look at my lines and I see certain things, and most of the time I don't. So I feel with doodles, if you keep doing them, they do get easier and you find things that you like to do more than other things. For me, it's definitely lines, it's circles, it's dots, it's these little pebbles that I'm drawing off camera right now. I forgot that I didn't move the camera, so but you'll see them after. There you go. I also filled them in with a little bit more black. Yeah, definitely lines and circles and dots are my favorite at the moment. I tend to stick to a certain theme when I do these compositions. I have realized that if I bring in lots and lots of different doodle types, it gets busy because the lines are already busy enough, and I don't like when the whole thing just is filled with doodles. If you're just starting out and you're practicing your doodles, by all means go ahead and fill them with as many doodles as you can think of or as you can search on the internet, because that's what I did in the beginning, and it had a different purpose back then. Now that I think that I have kind of found my style, I tend to just stick with what I love personally. This is one of my favorite white gel pens. It's the Uniball Signo brand, and I linked it below, as well as the Copic white paint that I am using here. You can use just acrylic white paint, that works too. This one comes with a handy little brush, and so to get into the smaller spaces, I like this thin brush to work with. I don't know if the microphone picks up the little bird, but there's a Phoebe flycatcher right outside my window, and it's busy picking up the little gnats that are flying around, which is great. I love them, they're so cute. Anyway, back to the painting. So I use the little brush that comes with this paint. I love this paint because it does not pick up the pigments underneath. I found, not with the acrylic paint, but with the watercolor paints, the lines I made with the white pen usually fade and turn into a lighter shade of the paint that was underneath, instead of, you know, staying a true white. And so that's a little annoying sometimes. And I found that this particular white paint will stay a true white. So just be aware of that if you're working with watercolors, that the white pen will fade and turn a lighter shade of the paint underneath. I like switching it up. I like using the pen sometimes. It depends on what kind of pen you manage to buy. My last white pen, same brand, same company, did not work from the beginning. So I was always struggling when I used it, and it was very frustrating. This pen here I bought new, and it works like a charm. So sometimes you get a dud, and if it doesn't work, it's probably just the pen is old or you got a bad one. It might be worth buying a new one. This dotting tool has quickly become one of my favorites. I don't know if you've watched any of my previous videos where whenever I do stippling, I keep saying that I hate it because I don't like the repetitive motion of the pen going onto the paper. It's very boring to me. Because I have to pick up paint with the dotting tool, I think it works for me a lot better. And I also found that if I use acrylic paints with the dotting tool, it gives it the painting a fun little texture. So it's kind of nice to run your finger across it and feel the dots, which I don't get when I use just a regular pen. It is my belief that you shouldn't box yourself into a certain style as an artist or as somebody who likes to create. Because just like in life, people change, styles change, and to think that just because you enjoy doing something or one style at this moment is what the rest of your creations should look like for, you know, the rest of your creative career. I'm not a believer of that. And maybe it's a mechanism for me to not box myself in too much and tie myself down to one specific style. But I'm a firm believer of exploring and do what makes you feel good in the moment. The moment you create for others because they like a certain style that you've done, it becomes work. And if you love your work, that's great. But if you stop loving what you're doing, then you need to change. So that's my words of wisdom for today. Take it or leave it, you know, it's up to you. I'm not here to tell you how you should live your life, but this is what works for me. So I like exploring, and sometimes I get a little fixated and hyper focused, and I just want to do one thing, and then it can change from one day to the next. And that's kind of how this works. This dotting tool, you guys, is life for me at the moment. I love it so much. If you like doing dots, get yourself a dotting tool. It doesn't matter what kind it is. It's so much fun. You get such good texture. For this, I just used the black acrylic paint. And in the beginning, I thought maybe I would need to get some black ink. I was watching Gabrielle and Cormier's channel, and I adore her art. So if you don't know, I'll link her channel down below. She's wonderful. And she uses a fountain pen and ink, and it black on black, so black lines with black dots on top, and it looked so good that I wanted to try it myself, but I didn't have the black ink, so I just used the black acrylic paint, and I love it. I love it so much. I want to do it all the time. I need to invest in better brushes because my brushes that I have, I've been a little rough with them in the past, and so they're all a little frayed, and it's really hard to get into the small spaces. As you can see, I'm covering my black lines. If that happens to you, don't worry about it. You can just draw the black over it again. It's super forgiving. In fact, once I'm done with a painting, I usually look over it and I straighten out lines, or I cover up where I colored it in certain areas. So that's not a big deal at all. We are nearing the end of this video, and I just wanted to say how much I appreciate all of you that are coming here to watch my videos and leave comments. Sometimes I'm unaware of the journeys that people who watch my videos go through on a daily basis, and that my videos help them. And so I wanted to say thank you for those of you who have shared your journey with me in the comments. Art is healing no matter what you end up trying out. So just keep that in mind. you might not realize it in the moment, but I can guarantee you, if you just stick with it, it doesn't matter what it is. It can be clay, it can be drawing, it can be painting, it can be, working with your hands, woodworking, whatever it is, you will see or feel benefits at some point. So whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you brings you joy, I hope you stick with it, and I hope it continues to help you heal and process what you're going through at the moment. So thank you for sharing your thoughts with me.